to talk now about wrist cock, and that in combined with forearm rotation. We can really think of this as one thing going on. I know a lot of the TGMers like to dissect this down into power accumulator 2 with the cocking of the wrist, and number 3, the rotation of the forearm. But ultimately, these are going to happen in unison with each other. If I cock my wrists and I rotate my forearms, well, if I'm going to get down to the golf ball, there's going to have to be some uncocking of the wrist, and that's going to happen from here, from P3 down to impact, or else I'm not going to hit the golf ball. So it's not really something we need to be concerned with. I get some questions from students or some emails from non-students. They're saying, well, what about the sequencing of the wrist and the forearm rotation? Which comes first? Which comes second? Well, they're going to happen. They're going to happen together. Because if I don't uncock my wrist, the club's going to come up above the ball right here. I've got forearm rotation. If I don't uncock my wrist, I'm not going to get down the ball. It's the uncocking of the wrist that's going to get the shaft down to the golf ball. And so really we need to just focus on the forearm rotation and hitting the golf ball. The left wrist is going to uncock. So it's not something we really need to concern ourselves with. However, it doesn't continue to uncock. Now, if we uncock it here and then we raise up, and you see this a lot in these kind of releases, where the swinger releases, where the shaft starts working off plane, the club face rolls, and the wrist fully uncocks. Well, we don't want to do that either. We want to keep the club face looking at the target as long as possible. So while the wrist uncocks about halfway down to the ball, there's a lot more, wrist uncocking here. So let's just call it about halfway. We then preserve that wrist cock, and we keep that all the way over. And as we preserve that wrist cock, it keeps the club face looking out towards the target quite a bit longer, as Lee Trevino talked about. Now, if we uncock the wrist too much here, well, then that's something that we can utilize that in some of the advanced modular work on how to shape the golf ball. But generally speaking, the wrist cocking is going to be, for most people that fully uncock the wrist, it's going to be a throw over and a big roll of the club face, and we don't really want to do that. So the wrist uncock about halfway, maintain that wrist cock all the way over to P4, where the left hand is over at the left hip, the club head is still kind of out down the line, and this is really where your swing plane is really over here. Hands are over at the left hip, club shaft is still pointing out towards the target line, club face looking at the target, and then from here we make our move up to our finish. So hopefully that clears up a little bit of the questions about wrist cock and forearm rotation, and that happens in unison about halfway. We hold that over to P4 and bring that up to an aggressive finish.